Welcome to the Australian Championship.
Shot at the post and in, continue to make history.
This rivalry burns as bright as ever.
That is just spectacular, it's incredible, very well.
After a weekend of Australian Championship action that's seen thrills, spills, upsets and goals galore, we return to the venue where it all kicked off last Friday night. An audacious opener from Ali Orgler had nerves fraying at Lakeside Stadium, but Jordan Lampard had the place rocking when he curled in an 87th minute screamer to seal a 3-2 win over old rival Sydney Olympic and send Hellas joint top of Group A. They're joined at the summit by today's visitors, Moreton City, who defeated Broadmeadow away at Magic Park by the same scoreline, and in even more dramatic fashion. Excelsior had to wait until the 8th minute of second half stoppage time to score their decisive goal, a spot kick blasted into the top corner by their Japanese sensation, Seita Murai. While these two clubs may be separated by 1,400 kilometres, they share a commitment to attacking football, as well as the pain of 3 consecutive NPL Grand Final defeats in recent seasons. If round one is anything to go by, neither side is likely to take a backward step this afternoon, and we could be in for a classic. Ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in for South Melbourne versus Moreton City Excelsior. And you can have your say in our fan poll today. Who do you think will take the 3 points home? Scan the QR code or visit australianchampionship.com.au and click on the Game Day tab to have your say. Crowd building nicely at Lakeside. The earlier kickoff between Sydney Olympic and Broadmeadow was screened here at this venue. Shock result, seeing Broadmeadow pick up the 3 points and setting the cat among the pigeons in Group A. Let's get into the team news, and South Melbourne names an unchanged 11 from round one, with Jake Marshall and Marko Jankovic partnered at the back. A midfield axis of Seb Pasquale and Tom Giannakopoulos, and Yuki Uchida supporting a front three of Mikola, Bernarda and Laval. There's one change on the bench as Jack Pope comes in for Campbell Dobberson. Manny Agwek still can't crack the starting lineup, but look out for his impact off the pine. As for Excelsior, they make one change with new signing Trent Millard coming in for Jack McAnally at right back. Keitatsu Kojima will look to venture forward from the left side of defence, while Joe Scott is the man in form, notching 2 superb goals last week. Marco's brother Luka Jankovic is among the substitutes, which will be a storyline to watch in the second half. Will we see one sibling marking the other? It's all change at South Melbourne in recent times under Sinisa Kohadzic, who has brought in 7 new signings for the championship, and they've begun training 4 times a week to bed them in. Hellas dropped from the relegation zone mid-year under Esteban Quintas, but don't be fooled by their 9th place finish in NPL Victoria. Kohadzic has more than steadied the ship since his arrival, winning 12 of his 22 games in charge and transforming South Melbourne's style of football, lifting the Doherty Cup in the process. Cameron Miller led Moreton City Excelsior to the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup in 2024, upsetting A-League opposition in Perth Glory along the way. This year they've been crowned NPL Queensland Premiers for the first time in a decade, and at just 31 years of age, his burgeoning reputation continues to grow. Today's referee is the NPL Victoria Referee of the Year, Jack Morgan. The 4th official is Puya Gadirian, assistant referees Peter Jaworski and Will Samsa. Jack Morgan has officiated the NPL Victoria Grand Final this year, which saw 8,500 fans packed into this very venue. There's Jackson Courtney Perkins on your screen. who spent the last few years playing down here in Victoria for Avondale FC and Port Melbourne Sharks. He's actually scored against South Melbourne before. It's been 3 years. But he's a danger man to watch on the right. One of the new signings for Moreton City. And there's the man of the moment in round one. Yuki Uchida scored the all-important equaliser and was the creative fulcrum for South Melbourne all through that contest. He's arrived from Dandenong Thunder after a tremendous debut campaign in the top flight. He was whiling away at Northcote City last season and the year before, but his talents have propelled him to the top division of Victorian football and now the championship. And we're away. Moreton City Excelsior in the retro Arsenal-style bruised banana kit, kicking from left to right. South Melbourne in the familiar all blue. This is Trent Millard with his first touch of football in Moreton City colours. He's arrived from the Central Coast Mariners. Spent the 2025 season with Lions FC, but was previously in the A-League Academy system. Both the Mariners and Brisbane Roar. Moreton City looked electric going forward in round one, but there were gaps at the back, that's for sure. Didn't all go their way at Magic Park. They will fight fire with fire today. It's Courtney Perkins on the ball. Nodded away. Pasquale. Stopped in his tracks, illegally so, by Kenshin Takagishi. That challenge again. In fact, it was Harry Arneson who put in the tackle. Knee-to-knee contact on Pasquale. That one won't have tickled. Given away straight away by South Melbourne. Courtney Perkins. Yankovic tries to settle the early nerves. See Tom Yiannakopoulos dropping in between the central defenders to form a back three at times. He's equally adept in defensive midfield or the heart of defence. And it all the way to the NPL Victoria Grand Final with Dandenong City this year. And his talents have not gone unnoticed by Sinisa Kohadzic, who's brought him into the fold. Marshall. To Mikola. Throw-in goes his way, and it's taken long and quick. You know the distance Max Mikola can get on those throws. A major attacking weapon, usually propelling them into the box at set-piece situations, but also can be useful in starting a quick attack. Ball was moving off the goal kick, I believe, and it will be called back. Nathan Foster is a highly rated goalkeeper in Queensland. Maybe had a match to forget last week against Broadmeadow. Played straight through South Melbourne there very quickly, and it was Joe Scott to swing it in. Not enough bodies in the box to attack it. Andy Pengelly is always likely to be among the goals. Yet to get off the mark for his new side. He is a fox in the box, the number 9. The first player to net 150 goals in NPL Queensland competition. He's well over that mark now. If we include all competitions, he's over 200 up in Queensland. He's never taken his talents interstate, aside from a brief stint in Singapore, but it's not for a want of trying. Every NPL Victoria club has offered him the big bucks to move down south. He's shunned those advances. Lampard, hero of that late goal in round one. Back to Yiannakopoulos. Yankovic forward. Laval. Pasquale, and now Bernarda with a chance to cross. It's driven into the box. And Declan Smith deals with the danger. But Excelsior can't keep it. Right early moment for Noel Bernarda, the Argentinian firebrand. And this calls for Max Mikola to uncork the genie. Lakeside running track providing ample distance for him to wind up. A former fast bowler in his youth. Long launch, only punched away to the top of the box. Marshall got underneath it. Marshall wasn't far away in turning that in, but just couldn't get his body position right. And the short goal kick backfires for Moreton City, and South Melbourne will have a retake in the exact same position. Nothing Trent Millard could have done with that. There we go, Mikola again, who, as I was saying, attributes his long throw prowess to his fast bowling career in his youth. So he realised he was probably not tall enough to make it at the top level in cricket, but that is some weapon. Foster punched away. Painter Andrews. And it's an early aerial barrage from South Melbourne, who will be looking to exploit the unfamiliarity of the interstate teams with this particular strategy. It's brought them so much success in Victoria. Painter Andrews can launch them too. Uchida. Pasquale's header. Painter Andrews racing onto the loose ball, and it's bundled over the byline for a goal kick. And Moreton City goes short again. There's the Clarendon corner in full voice, as you'd expect, for South Melbourne's return to the national stage. Game being paused for a shoelace, which you don't often see. Marko Jankovic having to race back to central defence now. Smith will go long. You can feel Moreton City just shrinking into their shells a little bit here. They need to withstand the waves of pressure coming their way in the early offing. They can get into the opposition half. They're every chance of scoring. So much firepower in this Excelsior side. Smith, Giannakopoulos, headed down only as far as Courtney Perkins. Dispossessed by Uchida. Pasquale back to Jankovic. It's an oft-repeated refrain. Queensland produces the players and Victoria buys the players. No more evidence of that than the central defensive combination of Marko Jankovic and Jake Marshall, both Queensland products. As I mentioned in pre-game, Marko Jankovic's brother Luca on the bench for Moreton City today. So a big day for the Jankovic family. Not the first time they've faced each other in a competitive fixture. Pengelly. Scott stops and props and rolls it back to Courtney Perkins, but Max Mikola was racing back on defensive duties. Moreton City might be preparing to give South Melbourne a taste of their own medicine. Bait and switch as they go short to Morai. Saita Murai to unleash one from distance. And it's the closest we've come to a goal. Moreton City's first attempt of note fell at the feet of their Japanese star. Here it is again, picture in picture. Murai didn't get the bend and dip he was looking for. Melbourne win it back high. Cause some headaches at the back for Moreton City. Ball spills kindly to Foster. Rolled short to Smith. It's been non-stop pressure from Hellas so far. Lampard's ball in. Laval arriving late. Too late as it turned out. There's one non-negotiable principle for Sinisa Kohadzic and the way his teams always play. It's pressure on the ball, high up the park. And they're not going to give Moreton City a moment to breathe. Pasquale looking for Mikola. Mikola onto the crossbar! Uchida couldn't turn home the rebound. South Melbourne inches away from the opener. Chaos at Lakeside. A superb ball into the box. Mikola got a foot on it and so nearly propelled the ball into the top corner. Desperately unlucky for Max Mikola. And the ball was ricocheting back to Uchida at some velocity and an awkward height. Uchida ran out of real estate on the right-hand side against his countryman, Keitatsu Kojima, who was so dynamic in the first half going forward against Broadmeadow last week, but was replaced at half-time. No word as to whether that was an injury concern or perhaps due to the defensive frailties that were exposed. Certainly on the attacking end, Kojima is among the best left backs going around. Key part of the spectacular back to front goal that they scored all the way from the goalkeeper, playing through the line, superb combination play, ending with Murai teeing up Joe Scott for the first time effort, which he buried unerringly into the bottom corner. First round of the Australian Championship littered with incredible goals of different varieties, but in terms of a sweeping team move, for my money, nothing beats that Joe Scott strike to open the scoring last week. Of course, the people voted differently this week, naming Jackson Stevens' looping effort for Bayswater City the goal of the round. Keep an eye out on the Australian Championship socials for another vote this time around. Uchida will drag back to create space on the right boot. The defender got across in time. Will be Mikola to hurl this one in. Big bodies pile forward for South Melbourne. Headed out only as far as Max Mikola, who'll go for goal. And it's beaten away at the near post by Nathan Foster. Almost a similar goal to the one Jordan Lampard scored last week after taking a corner. Bernarda beating his man for pace, teases one to the back stick, and then struck on the volley. Well, the flag was up anyway. It's nearly Jordan Lampard with 2 in 2 weeks. The left back popping up on the right flank. Been pretty adventurous with his movement so far today. Inverting into midfield, creating positional headaches for Excelsior. He doesn't score many, but when he does, they tend to be crucial. He has an eye for the spectacular. Last-minute winner from Jordan Lampard on the way to their Doherty Cup triumph. Testing night against third-tier Pascoe Vale, who rolled out almost an under-23 side that evening, but gave South the scare of their lives. It was Jordan Lampard scoring in the final minute to send them through. On their way to eventually defeating Heidelberg in the final of the Cup here in Victoria. One of the oldest trophies in Australian football going around. Campbell Dovison with a double on grand final day, Cup final day on against Heidelberg. He's not part of the squad today, been left out. And Jack Pope coming in. But those remain Dovison's only 2 goals for the club so far, the 19-year-olds. Let's check in with how that poll's going. 58% of you think South Melbourne are likely to come out on top. Scan the QR code to cast your vote. Or you can head on over to australianchampionship.com.au and hit the Game Day tab. It's been South Melbourne with all the early running. Hitting the crossbar through Max Mikola. Has been South Melbourne's talisman for a few years now after making the move down from, you guessed it, Queensland, where he had a 23-goal season for Lions FC in 2021. Now well settled in Melbourne. Lining up for another long launch. It's gone short this time. Lampard's got all the time in the world to measure this one. It's driven in. An awkward bounce. And misses everybody behind for a goal kick. Unconventional delivery from Lampard. Expecting more curve on that one. Instead, he went more with the laces. Trying to cause a bit of chaos in the penalty area. Moreton City putting themselves under pressure here, and Lampard will pick up the scraps. Running into a teammate. Lampard to the byline. Still there. Mikola headed across goal. Yiannakopoulos. And now Pasquale to strike. Moreton City hurling bodies in front of the ball. And it's Captain Courageous Declan Smith who saves the day. Now they've got an injury concern. Let's look at that one again. Sorts of pressure from Pasquale. Bernarda couldn't get out of the way in time. It was deflected and evaded Uchida. Mikola heads it back into the danger area. Then out to Yiannakopoulos. And then it was that fall that's caused the injury. Pasquale hitting it first time. But a painful fall, it looks like, for Kenshin Takagishi, who is holding his left shoulder. I hope it's not as serious as it first looked. Some strapping going on the knee of Joe Scott as well. Self-application there. And Jack Morgan taking the opportunity to take on some fluids. It's been all action in Melbourne. Even the referees need a drink. The South Melbourne fans in fine voice. Looks like Takagishi is going to struggle to continue here. It'd be a big loss. The stoppage does give Cam Miller the chance to maybe tweak a few things tactically, give his team a bit of an impromptu pep talk. Maybe the break in momentum will work in favour of Moreton City. And if they look like they're about to lose Takagishi to a, not a doctor, but a dislocated shoulder, looks like the most likely diagnosis. The magic spray is out. Maybe he can soldier on through. Meantime, as they try and patch him up, it's another Moreton City player hitting the deck. Well, Bernarda is often in the mix when moments of controversy arise. Maybe giving Moreton City goalkeeper Nathan Foster a little love tap as they prepared to face the throw. Here goes Mikler again, off the long run-up. And it's headed harmlessly behind by Ollie Laval, who pounds the turf in frustration. Excelsior are under siege. South Melbourne still yet to land a blow. Take the goal kick long this time, and I'm not surprised given how much trouble playing their way out has caused them. Maybe that was one of the words of wisdom Cam Miller gave to his team in that huddle a moment ago. Let's not shoot ourselves in the foot here. South Melbourne are pressing so high. Let's launch this. Try and get out of our own half as quickly as possible. Ideal circumstances. It's not what most progressive attacking coaches like to do, but needs must when you're playing away from home in the Australian Championship against a former NSL powerhouse. Oh, poor ball from Foster. Mikler couldn't reel it in. Tied up by Kojima and Meineke at the back. Courtney Perkins. Almost beat Lampard for pace, but a crunching challenge from the left back saves the day for South. Courtney Perkins has looked promising when he's had a chance to stretch his legs on that right flank. He's joined Moreton City for the championship from the NPL Victoria Premiers Avondale. Going back to his native Queensland. His second spell. They weren't called Excelsior back then, but played for Moreton Bay United before he came down to Victoria. Millard and Arneson combining to lay the challenge, but it's at the concession of another corner. Well, Bernarda will hustle and bustle in the 6-yard box. He always seems to be where the ball drops. Mikler goes short to Achita. Max Mikler, was he caught? He was. Joe Scott knows he was in the wrong there. Just a little too late. And South Melbourne have a set piece of another variety. Just a little clumsy. The 2-goal hero on match day 1, Joseph Scott. Got options off this dead ball. Seb Pasquale looks to have claimed it. And swinger with the right. For the former Western United man. Pasquale aims for the edge of the 6-yard box. Kojima's header. Mikola. Powerful strike straight into Kojima there. He barely flinched. Number 14. Not sure if it caught him square in the face, but he was a man on a mission. Yanakopoulos. Moreton City into opening up a little bit. Instead, the whistle goes in favour of the visitors. Untidy giveaway from Peter Andrews. And this time it's Seita Murai who's left in a heap. From Bernardo put Peter Andrews under all sorts of pressure. Harry Arneson nipped in. And Jack Peter Andrews had little other choice but to bring down his opponent. Melbourne City would have been looking for the card. Takagishi's back out there after that shoulder injury. Looks like it's not as serious as first feared. It'll be an Excelsior throw. Takagishi winds one up. Shot cannons into the first defender. Meineke. Very tidy. Arneson. Takagishi. Bodies hitting the deck everywhere. Courtney Perkins. Pengeli dropping deep to see some possession. We haven't called his name too often this afternoon. Marshall, a moonraker of a clearance. Pengeli outmuscles Lampard. Pasquale back to help. And Lampard clears as far up the line as he can muster. Bit of sustained pressure for Moreton City, but it comes undone. As Yuki Uchida comes away with the ball. And slaloms towards goal. Uchida! Clips the crossbar. Twice South Melbourne have rattled the woodwork in this first half. And this time it's Yuki Uchida's turn to do so. Jinking inside, always had his eyes set on goal. So nearly dipped over the goalkeeper. What would have been his second goal of the competition. Excelsior living dangerously indeed. Marshall puts one into space. Cheetah will chase the lost cause. Darren Meineke up the line. South Melbourne ball. It's been a breakneck first half. Only pauses have been for Max Mikola to take his run up. This one's going long. Foster underneath it with the punch. Takagishi had to time that one to perfection. It's the towering figure at the back of Declan Smith. He'll be the main man when it comes to dealing with these. It's Painter Andrews' turn. Front post delivery. Doesn't get as much clearance on these throws as Mikula can. Marshall couldn't connect. And it was hooked lazily wide by Tom Yanakopoulos, who I don't think was expecting the ball to reach him. Short goal kick. Won't work out for Moreton City, no. South Melbourne back on the ball off Wichita last. Football at this location, not this venue of course, dates back all the way to the late 1800s. Match recorded between the Victorian and New South Wales colonies at the time was among the first games of association football to be played in the state. 1883. So it's hallowed ground for football fans in Melbourne. Melbourne win it back on the halfway line. Yanakopoulos. Forward to Painter Andrews. That one's coming down with snow on it. Uchida flicks it up to himself. Thought about the spectacular. And then Painter Andrews was drifting back from an offside position. Moreton City, for their part, formed by a merger between Moreton Bay, who were established in 2012, and Albany Creek Excelsior, who date back to 1963. It's their second year under their current guise. Lampard. Uchida sends one defender for a hot dog and drifts past another. South Melbourne have a free kick in shooting range, which Seb Pasquale has claimed for his own. Excelsior player down on the right flank, so we'll have another short injury stoppage. Millard is the player in pain now. And the cross from Lampard has caught him square in the face. So a potential head injury will have to be assessed for concussion. Excelsior have had their fair share of injury issues this season, particularly up front. Zach Kurapal doing his ACL after scoring 10 goals for them. Good to see he's still involved though, travelling with the team. Recording some social media videos for them. Joe Scott spent time out with injury as well. A PCL problem. Forced Satan Murai to play up top during the season. He deputised well there, not his natural position. The acquisition of Andy Pengelly gives them a proven number 9 with an unmatched goal record in Queensland. fans filling the void. The stoppage in play with plenty of song and merriment. Brilliant soundtrack to today's afternoon kickoff. Final time slot in round 2 in the Australian Championship. Millard is ready to get back on the pitch. South Melbourne are ready to strike this one goalwards. It's a rehearsed routine. It's Bernardo who pokes it through. It's clever from South Melbourne. I'm sure some of their supporters are wondering why they didn't go for a more conventional route. Pasquale with the bait and switch. Nicola with the short pass. So Bernardo, who was darting forwards to meet it and help it on. Into the crowd of bodies it went. Bit of an anti-climax after all that build-up. What can Nicola do here? He finds Laval, who's the wrong side of the last line. Moreton City have been pretty disciplined pushing up that line. It's been when they've hemmed in their own box, defending set pieces and so forth, that they've looked vulnerable. Short one for Foster. Meineke ran into traffic. Nicola took over. Fine sliding challenge. Clear the danger for Moreton City. It was Joe Scott who went down. Jack Morgan waves it away, uninterested. Scoreless with 8.5 minutes to play in the first half at Lakeside. Also going against Painter Andrews that time as Harry Arneson hits the turf. Player who'll be familiar to fans in both Queensland and Victoria. Had a stint with the Oakley Cannons this season. Cheetah put it into space, but the runner he was expecting was back marking up defensively. Kojima knocks it forwards. Pengelly was racing in behind Jake Marshall, but the centre-half knew where his bearings were and intercepted adeptly. Pasquale drills one out to Bernardo. Bernardo to Giannakopoulos. He's felled by Takagishi. Had a lot of fouls in this first half. It's got quite physical. Jack Morgan hasn't seen fit to produce a booking so far. Sure, his patience will run thin. Well, the referee impacting the game there, not in the fashion he would have hoped. Inadvertently stepping in Arneson's way. And we'll restart with a drop ball. Here it is again. Great screen from Morgan there, textbook technique. The last thing any referee wants is to involve themselves in the action. Kojima brought it down, or more I should say. Now it's fed out to Kojima. And Moreton City on the attack all of a sudden. Kojima coming back in field. Takagishi shows a clean pair of heels. Plays it into Scott. Murai with his sights set on the top corner. It wasn't too far away. Say to Murai, it looks Moreton City's most likely route to goal. It was an enthralling back to front move from Moreton City. Same style of attack that dazzled the opening goal at Magic Park last week. Skelter first half we've had at Lakeside. Four-time NSL champions South Melbourne, not having it all their own way. They'll be wondering how they haven't taken the lead. Lampard. Option in the middle is Laval. The chest and away. Jankovic only put it into touch. Silky stuff from Millwright. Has to go back to Smith. To Bengali. Right. Giving anything away in the challenge with Lampard. Nicola over-committed there on the slip from Meineke, and now South Melbourne are opened up. Courtney Perkins. Scott. Joseph Scott bobbled up on him unkindly. He's dispossessed by Jake Marshall. The former Brisbane striker who's been at South Melbourne since 2018. Over 150 appearances in Hellas Blue. Uchida. Exchanging passes with Nicola. Uchida to swing it in. Pasquale. Out to Nicola. Bernarda's in there. And the whistle's going to go against the Argentine, who sarcastically applauds the decision of Jack Morgan.
Left side grandstand.
Felt the defender was the one doing the holding.
Street food, ice cream as well.
Knowing Noel Bernarda, as all of us who follow Victorian football do, he probably started it. Man from Cordoba, who scored goals wherever he's gone in Melbourne. Dandenong Thunder, Green Gully, always hits double digits. This season was an exception, only 5 to his name, but missed a good chunk of the middle of the season through injury, which coincided with South Melbourne's worst period of form. Ball's gone out on the left. South Melbourne will retake possession. Jankovic. Yanakopoulos. South Melbourne have to be careful not to dwell on it in their own half. Excelsior are more than capable of winning and springing. Nicola. Bernarda into a deep midfield position. Giving it away and sliding in. It's clean. Long switch finds Painter Andrews on the attack into the box. Painter Andrews sees his path to goal blocked by the Moreton City captain. Declan Smith has been the last line of defence and has held firm to keep that clean sheet intact as we head into the last minute of regulation in the first half. Pasquale chips it over the top. Mikola! Dragged agonisingly wide. Excelsior were expecting a flag that never came. Nicola stopped, set himself. Just hooked the half volley. He's come closest for South. Striking the crossbar. Cheetah did the same. Pasquale out to Mikola. Mikola inside onto his left. And then Arneson falling painfully to the deck. South Melbourne fans show what they think of these injury stoppages. I feel Excelsior are trying to waste time until the break. The reaction from Arneson seemed genuine. Here he is again. Arneson running full bore. Nothing Max Mikola could really have done about that. It was heavy contact. From a footballing family, Harry Arneson. His dad, Paul, was a professional who played at Carlisle United and Hartlepool, among others. It was actually the former A-League star Michael Bridges who helped Paul Arneson find a new home at Sunshine Coast when he emigrated in 2013, bringing Harry with him, of course. So a dual national now. Cheetah. Harry's career has taken him to the Roar Academy, the Sunshine Coast Wanderers, and even to England and Wales. Played for the Spartans, among other lower league outfits. And then a season with the Oakley Cannons in Victoria, which saw him in and out of the starting lineup. Always first choice for Chris Taylor's midfield. Looks fine to continue after that knock. Kojima back to Meineke, charge down. And the last touch off a Moreton City player is the verdict. Sign behind him reads dynamic. Max Mikola certainly is. Long launch towards the tall timber of Marshall and Yankovic. Loose ball coming out to Yiannakopoulos. Mikola's going to go for goal, and it's gathered at the second attempt by Nathan Foster. In the third of 4 minutes of added time in this first half, which has resulted from all those injury stoppages. It's going to be a free kick for the attacking player following up on the goalkeeper. They had every right to go for the ball, but keeper gets a hand to it first. The whistle's always going to go in their favour. Last minute of the first half. After that, it's up to Jack Morgan's discretion. Scott gets a touch in build-up. No nonsense from Marshall. Scott going to get some distance on this. Saw this last week against Broadmeadow. Scott looking for Smith. South Melbourne break here. It's fallen invitingly for Bernarda. Bernarda rolls it back, Uchida, and well defended. Keitatsu Kojima there in time. And that's the last action of the first 45 here at Lakeside. Frustration for South Melbourne as they had Moreton City on the ropes at times. Couldn't land a killer blow. It's been heroic defending from Excelsior, particularly their captain Declan Smith, to keep the clean sheet intact. The halftime score at Lakeside is South Melbourne 0, Moreton City Excelsior 0.
We all know South Melbourne Football Club, but what have they been doing since we last saw South in the NSL?
Kovacevic and the South Melbourne players are desperately unhappy.
That was March 2004. Now, a four-time NSL champion who represented Australian club football on a global stage had to ride the highs and lows of State League.
And after 8 years of waiting, there it is. They are the champions, South Melbourne.
But there would be surprise setbacks in the NPL National Finals and the FFA Cup. In more recent times, knockout football has been friendlier to South Melbourne, winning the last two Doherty Cups. South have been yearning to emerge from what they consider the football wilderness, seeking their next icon to put alongside the likes of Puskas and Postecoglou. And they'll do it in the Australian Championship.
Cole's Mini Group is a fun introduction to football for girls and boys aged 4 to 11. It's a great way to learn football skills and have
football's back home. It'd be great to be on SBS again.
It's going to definitely give the Australian Championship a massive, massive platform.
You're not just showcasing yourself on YouTube or anything anymore. It's SBS, it's massive.
It's great that it's going to be live free there. It's great exposure.
Every player want to be on TV, and I think that's really good for the people in Australia.
Now I can tell all my siblings I just tell them to turn on SBS and watch me there.
It's the best thing to happen to football in Australia in a very long time.
It's integral to all these clubs and fans and players to have the games broadcasted live.
That's where you want to be on free-to-air. It's SBS. Everyone watches it.
To have football back on, I guess, the main stage of where it all started, it's exciting. It's a great opportunity for the whole of Australia to watch.
You never know what's going to happen.
We just hope that we can do this code proud.
For every football lover in Australia, you know, when you hear the SBS, you think about football.
I grew up with watching the World Game on SBS.
On Sunday from first thing in the morning. All day football.
I was an avid follower of the Captain Socceroo with Johnny Warren.
Craig Foster, Les Murray days, you can't forget it.
All the iconic moments in football have been on SBS.
SBS was the home of football, so it's great that we're back there.
Scoreless at the break at Lakeside, but not for want of trying. South Melbourne 0, Moreton City Excelsior 0 at half-time. South Melbourne twice striking the woodwork through Max Mikola and Yuki Uchida. Let's have a look at some of the big moments. Came from these long throws that Max Mikola has to trouble opposition defences with. Excelsior had a few looks at goal, mostly from range. Sancta Murai blazing that one high and wide at the top corner. It looks like their most likely route to a breakthrough. Pasquale's superb chip ball over the top. Caught square flush on the volley by Max Mikola, and somehow it rattles back off the bar. Another long throw from the right-hand side. Came out to Mikola, whose effort was beaten away at the near post by Nathan Foster. But a short goal kick gets Moreton City into all sorts of trouble here. Lampard struggling to get out of the way of Noel Bernardo at first. Deflections, chaos in the box, headed back into the mix-up, and then it was a painful fall for the Japanese midfielder Kenson Takagishi, who had to be treated for a shoulder injury after that one. Great block from Declan Smith. Yuki Uchida charging forward on the break, almost the goal of the round, clipping the crossbar on its way over. Moreton City, good combination plays up top. Came all the way from the goalkeeper and ended up with Seita Murai, who couldn't get the bend and dip he was looking for to add to his tally in the Australian Championship. Similar ball for Mikola coming in field, and just drags the volley wide of the far post. Never in danger of troubling Foster there. So South Melbourne pretty dominant in this first 45, as the stats will show. 11 shots to 3, just the 2 on target though for South Melbourne. Had mostly long throws, not so much corners and free kicks to trouble the Moreton City box offset pieces, but when Excelsior get forward, they've got a long throw weapon of their own through Joe Scott. So South Melbourne, if they're not careful, will get a taste of their own medicine. Let's have a look back at the action we've seen in the Australian Championship so far this weekend. We kicked off on Friday night at Leichhardt Oval, and Apia laid down a marker. A decisive 4-0 victory over Sydney United. Presley Ortiz got them off the mark. Excellent from Kambayashi, who delivers this corner. Kuda's header across. And then the towering Canadian at the heart of their defence does the business. This was the pick of the bunch. Sean Simmons, take a bow. Magnificent free kick. And the pyrotechnics were going off at Leichhardt Oval. And on Saturday, it was Marconi's turn to show what they're made of. Damien Sekenis, the hat-trick hero. This dummy from Marko Jesic. Superb from the 36-year-old veteran. William Accio has joined Marconi in the window from the Canberra NPL. He stood up all of 3, 4, 5 defenders, all expecting him to chop back onto his right boot. Instead, he delivers with his left and tees up Sekenis for a second. Now here's the hat-trick goal for Damien Sekenis, making his dad proud on the touchline. Took a little stumble as he brought that ball down, but it mattered not. Heidelberg away in the gong at Collegian Sports Centre, and the Australia Cup finalists showed what they're made of. Jamal Ali has a knack for popping up at the right place at the right time. He gave Heidelberg the lead, then a driven shot, again originating from a corner for the Burgers. Anthony Lesiotis through a crowd of bodies to make it 2-0. Heidelberg eventually going on to win it by 3 clear goals. So all to do in the second half for Moreton City if they're to gain a foothold in this match. Let's have a look at the other results from this weekend. Sydney Olympic going down 3-2 to Broadmeadow Magic earlier today, and Canberra, Croatia stunning Preston Lions at Deakin Stadium by the same scoreline. Avondale currently a goal up against Northwest Sydney Spirit, and it's scoreless in our other simultaneous kickoff between Bayswater City and Metro Stars. Well, on the other side of this break, the second half, Moreton City still in with a shot of pulling off an upset. South Melbourne, the home side, need to deliver the goods. We'll be back on the other side with the second half at Lakeside. It's South Melbourne 0, Moreton City Excelsior 0.
Excelsior, defined as higher, upward, to indicate superior quality. So, can Moreton City live up to their name. The club is a product of a merger just 2 years ago, as Moreton Bay United, founded in 2012, merged with Albany Creek Excelsior, founded in 1963. Moreton Bay United were NPL Queensland premiers and champions in 2015, while Albany Creek were the dominant side of the Brisbane Premier League in the late 2010s. And like the Union of Clubs, Excelsior has been a unifying force recruiting Queensland talent since securing this season's premiership, headlined by current Golden Boot Andy Pengelly. Moreton City Excelsior are loaded up and ready to go as the sole representative of the Sunshine State in the Australian Championship.
Please welcome back our South Melbourne Hellas to the pitch for the second half of this Australian.
Scores level at the break at Lakeside. South Melbourne have come so close to a goal on two occasions. Max Mikola and Yuki Achida both striking the woodwork. The fans have been left frustrated so far. number of injury issues for Moreton City in the first half, and it looks like they're going to make a half-time change. Damon Anderson has been summoned, the number 7, who's come all the way through the juniors at Excelsior. 23 years of age. It's a big second half for the captain, Declan Smith, who put his body on the line in the first. South Melbourne, Sinisha Kahadzic isn't happy either. A swap up front. Manny Agwek comes on to replace Oli Laval. So a straight change there.
Coming on, number 16, Oli Laval. Coming on, number 10, Magulak.
Would you believe it's Joe Scott who's come off for Moreton City, their hero in round 1 with 2 goals, unable to continue. We saw him strap himself up during an injury stoppage for another player, Kenshin Takegishi, in the first half, so I can only assume that's injury related. It'd be a shock if a player of Joseph Scott's quality was withdrawn for reasons of performance alone. If so, it's a huge call from Cam Miller. We're away for the second half. Marko Jankovic, the Queenslander, gets us started off with a long bomb from left to right for South Melbourne in the all blue. Painter Andrews. Again, it's Jack Painter Andrews. Going to the byline and beating Kojima as well. The cutback is on. Uchida spilled to Agwek, and he scored with his first touch. Instant impact off the bench for Manny Agwek. His first goal in South Melbourne blue. Returning to his boyhood club where he played junior football. And what a time to score it. It was all down to the industry of Jack Painter Andrews and the inventiveness here, jinking past Kojima. The cut back to Uchida, whose side-footed effort was spilt by Nathan Foster. And Manny Agwek was Johnny on the spot. He won't score an easier goal than that. Right place, right time for Manny Agwek, the top scorer in this year's Australia Cup national stages. Look at the nutmeg from Painter Andrews in the build-up. And the Uchida strike goes through the legs as well. So after toiling for so long in the first half without a goal, South Melbourne have taken less than a minute to net one in the second. I think you should permit Sinisha Kahadzic to pat himself on the back there. Huge call to bring off Oli Laval, who was excellent in round 1, and inject Agwek at this early stage. He has repaid the gaffer's faith in spades. It's taken only seconds. Pasquale. Picking out Mikola. Air underneath it. Bernarda with an illegal challenge on his marker. Trent Millard, the man felled. Agwek. Uchida. Thundering challenge from Smith, which was all ball. Millard runs it into touch. The South Melbourne supporters had barely tucked into their half-time souvlaki by the time Manny Agwek nestled that one in the back of the net. Imagine a few coming back from the food trucks and social club would have missed the goal. But a chance to make it 2 here with Max Mikola launching one into the centre of the 6-yard box. Agwek is perched on the back stick and will try and shake the attentions of Smith. And as far as Pasquale. Excelsior send it as far up the field as they can muster. And the men in yellow can regain their composure here. Try and find a foothold back into this game. Agwek a little over-eager with the push on Declan Smith. Howls of protest from the Lakeside grandstand. And a late challenge flying in, and tempers beginning to fray. Bernarda holds his head in disbelief. He'll get a stern telling off from Jack Morgan. Smith wondering why the card hasn't been produced. Well, Manny Agwek, the man of the moment, made his debut as a teenager for South Melbourne back in 2018. Never actually scored a senior competitive goal for the club. A winding career trajectory that's that forward as Meineke deals with the cross. All right, Kojima. There's the substitute Anderson. Less said about that one, the better. Anderson and Moreton, both furious with each other. Saying Agwek has had a winding career that's taken him to Central Coast Mariners, Western United, Avondale, all the way to Malta. And now it's come full circle, back to where it all began. On by Pasquale. Lampard. To Yankovic. Achida drifting into a channel. Still Yuki Achida looking for Agwek, and it could have been two. Manny Agwek free as a bird on the edge of the 6-yard box. Achida's delivery was inch perfect. And Agwek rather overran the ball. Couldn't contort his body in time to propel it goalwards. Perhaps it should have been two. Now it's Agwek who's been found quickly by the long throw from Mikola. We're used to seeing the long run up, but he can launch it that far just off a step. When he scored for Avondale in the Australia Cup, one of 6 such goals, he unveiled a Mario Balotelli-style undershirt. I wonder if he's got something special planned if he nets a second here. Mikola. Smith couldn't clear it. Agwek was waiting. They'll settle for a corner. 5 to aim for in the penalty area. Jankovic perched just on the edge at the moment to make a late dash. It's a short routine and a change of angle for Pasquale. Doesn't beat the man at the near stick, and South Melbourne got another opportunity. Seb Pasquale, the former Ajax man. One's overcooked. Jankovic will try and make something of it. Uchida. Back onto his right boot, and he drills in the cross. Towering figure of Smith heads it away. Mikola with a jinking run down the left. Oh, escapes the attentions of two defenders. Oh, and he's going into the book. It's a yellow card for simulation for Max Mikola. Well, first looked like he'd been fouled, but Jack Morgan was in no doubts. Is this some not so clever gamesmanship from Max Mikola? The replay will tell the story. It's a superb turn. Well, there was contact. Max Mikola perhaps harshly done by a theatrical fall.
Double substitution for Moreton City.
The defender did have a little nibble at his ankle there.
Coming off number 6, Harry Anderson. Coming on number 22, Lachlan Sayers.
We've had a change now.
Number 18,
Lachlan Sayers has come on.
And coming on, number 15, Christopher Mark.
Sounds like it's a double swap in midfield for Moreton City. Cam Miller has seen enough. Turned it over straight away, Yiannakopoulos. Kojima. His clearance is blocked by Uchida, and Pasquale will turn back onto his right, and it's saved brilliantly by Foster. Superb reflex stop. Seb Pasquale denied. Breathless pace to this game now. And just to recap those changes, it's Chris Marr and Lachlan Sayers who've come on for Harry Arneson and Kenshin Takagishi. South Melbourne so close to a second. On the balance of play, they probably deserve a second. Weineke. Smith holds the attentions of Agwek. Pingeli has been a peripheral figure. Trying to get involved in build-up there. Ball is turned over. Rampart taking a throw right in front of his head coach. Clad in all black there, Sinisa Kohadzic. Who are previously serving as the reserves or under-23s coach here at South Melbourne. He's also had a stint managing the Philippines women's national team under-23 side under the auspices of Mark Torcaso, who still manages that senior team. frustrated figure. And the last thing they need is an injury to their skipper. He's already gone to his bench twice. No real natural replacement. Jack McAnally and James Murphy are the two defenders they have in reserve. Those players both more used to playing at fullback. Something tells me Smith will tough this out. Anderson. Roll it back to Millard to take the throw. Chris Marr, the veteran, on in midfield now. Over 200 appearances in the Queensland top flight. One of their longest serving players at Moreton City in terms of senior seasons. This is his 5th. Moreton. Awkward height for Courtney Perkins. Yankovic with a swivel, an acceleration away. Yiannakopoulos, Pasquale. A couple of first-time passes open up the pitch for South. Zuchida looks for the shot. Nicola will reel it in at full stretch and stand up his marker. Comes inside, looking for a cheetah. Always ambitious to pick out that channel through the eye of a needle. Moreton. Moreton for Pengelly. Pengelly out to Anderson. 2 in the middle to aim for. It came off Marr. And ricocheted out to Courtney Perkins. And the touch off Chris Marr has rendered Courtney Perkins offside. Attack for Excelsior comes to a juddering halt. They have to believe here, the NPL Queensland Premiers. They've been under the cosh for the majority of this game, but still only 1 goal the difference. Little shirt pull on Agwek. Play waved on through Mikola. Up against Kojima. Mikola. Bodies hit the deck in the penalty area. Marr. Sayers stretching for it. Intelligently done by Chris Marr. And brought out of the sky elegantly by Jordan Lampard. Oh, given away by Lopez. And here's Moreton. Chance brewing here for Moreton City. Turned behind by Yankovic. And it's a corner for the visitors. It all came from an error from Javi Lopez, uncharacteristically so. Pengelly's cut back looking for Anderson. And Marko Yankovic was trundling back to make the block. South Melbourne going majority man-to-man at the top of the box. Chris Marr over the dead ball. The substitute hangs it high for Smith. Oh, had to generate his own power there. It was a comfortable claim for Lopez, who's barely had a save of note to make in this game. 3-time NPL Victoria Goalkeeper of the Year. Not this year, though. That honour went to Yaron Souza of Heidelberg. Previously, he was the top gloveman 3 years running. At 34 years of age, the Spaniard. Agwek's header brought down beautifully by Bernarda. And a last-ditch challenge flying in. Agwek wants a penalty. He won't get one. The fans were baying for it as well. Kojima. Exchanging passes with Sayers. Let's have another look at that challenge. The first one on Bernarda was clean, no doubt about that. It's this second one on Agwek. Did he have his ankle caught by Smith? I'll leave you to decide at home. No doubt about that decision. Declan Smith is going into the book. Dead ball chance for Hellas. They tried a unconventional short routine in the first half. They'll send this one into the mixer. It'll be Seb Pasquale. Pasquale looking for Marshall, who heads down into the ground. And then the ball is claimed comfortably and confidently by Foster. Whistle going against Murai there. Can only assume for handball. He was offside. Lopez. Smith. Lampard kills it dead out of the sky, not for the first time. Bernarda. Agwek running the channels. Manny Agwek up against Millard here. Can't muscle his way past. No whistle. And South Melbourne can exploit this chance as Yuki Uchida tees it up. The follow-up from Bernarda is blocked. Moreton City Excelsior keep it out of the net by the skin of their teeth. Kojima in the way. South Melbourne will be wondering how have they not added to their lead here? Especially if there's a sucker punch at the other end. Seems like only a matter of time. Pasquale to take. Agwek at the front post. Get another. Man who made his debut with much fanfare at the MCG against Juventus. Seb Pasquale has had his career derailed by a sequence of injuries over the journey. His quality is undeniable. This time it's taken short. The return ball from Mikola wasn't the best, but he'll swing it in anyway. Jankovic, more off balance than felled by his opponent, Courtney Perkins. Meineke. Smith. Charged down by Agwek. The attack goes on. Murai. Anderson involved as well. Murai with a rugby tackle on Cheetah. In fact, it was Lachlan Sayers, I should say. going into the book. Wrestling Yuki Achida to the ground. No doubt about that one. The substitute gets his second yellow card of the competition so far. It's going to be James Murphy to come on as the latest change. So natural fullback on for a forward. Jackson Courtney Perkins didn't look best impressed.
Number 2, James Murphy.
James Murphy will join the action here. We'll see if that results in a change of shape for Excelsior. Pasquale over another free kick. Will this one bear fruit? Jankovic at the back post. Well, it's looking increasingly unlikely that we're going to see a family reunion out there. Luka Jankovic watching on from the Pine. Has played against his brother Marco before for Olympic FC in the Australia Cup. A game in which his brother Marco scored twice, including one from way downtown. Dramatic 3-2 victory in extra time. Proud footballing family that. Their father, Milan Jankovic, played for Real Madrid. Luka Jankovic, only 20s, best years of his career ahead of him. Marco has had a fine run in Victoria, Bentley Greens and now South Melbourne. Closing in on 200 games in the Victorian top flight for the 30-year-old. Oh, and Bernarda, has he lashed out there on Smith? What colour's the card? He's off! A moment of madness from Noel Bernarda. Still protesting his innocence. The Argentinian cannot quite believe this. Well, there's claret from the forehead of Declan Smith. Not sure if that tells the story or not. Here it is, the incident. Smith scampering back to his feet. Well, I'm not sure if there was contact to the face with the elbow of Bernarda, but certainly the shoulder. They're assessing the replay themselves on the iPad. Slow it down one more time. Looked like he lined him up there. Certainly an aggressive motion, if not a full-blown elbow from Noel Bernarda. He's walking down the tunnel early. Well, South Melbourne down to 10. No VAR in this competition, of course, so I'm sure those replays will be dissected and getting into their lives by South Melbourne supporters who feel their star man has been hard done by. But a potential lifeline for Moreton City Excelsior to get back into this game. Hear the South Melbourne fans, you can hear what they think of that decision. The first time Noel Bernarda has seen red. He was sent off in a premiership deciding game away at Avenger Park when they faced Avondale a couple of years ago. just for something he said rather than a physical act. Smith has been patched up. A moment of controversy, aggression in the second half. South Melbourne will have to cope with 10 on the pitch. And the Excelsior captain, Declan Smith, is going to bear the brunt of the boos every time he touches the ball. He's upended by Agwek. Lakeside Stadium is in uproar. This is great theatre in round 2 of the Australian Championship. Onto the substitute Murphy. Can Moreton City find a way back into the game with a man advantage? They've been up against the ropes for most of the contest thus far. They know what they can do in the attacking end. They have an opportunity. Sayers, Kojima, Morai. Pasquale gets a foot in. They can stay with Moreton City attack. Meineke. For both these coaches as well, how they deal with this change in the flow of the game. Sayers. Murphy. You'd imagine that Sinisa Kahadzic's preferred method of defending, which is front foot high press, is going to be rendered ineffective by the loss of one of their attackers. Anderson. Bronx cheer goes up as the South Melbourne fans delight in a slight miscontrol from Declan Smith. Howls of derision. Pelters being thrown from the cheap seats. They perceived was a bit of play acting that saw their beloved Bernarda wanted a straight red. Have to let you make your own mind up at home. The replays weren't damning, but they didn't exactly clear him of wrongdoing either. Ball on to Ma. Chance for Moreton City here. Kojima joins the attack and contests the dropping ball. Murphy. Time for Sayers. Switch the point of attack. Smith. These aren't going to stop until full time. The boos raining down. The Excelsior skipper. As Murphy combines with Ma. Intelligent work from the pair of them. It's for West Australian Jack Painter-Andrews, who clears the danger for South Melbourne. Complexion of this game has flipped completely. Now it's an attack versus defence drill for Moreton City. As Kojima unleashes the strike, and Javi Lopez tips it around the post. He's been a spectator for most of this game. Now they need him more than ever. Kojima so dangerous coming forward from left back. And it's well dealt with by Lopez. Chris Marr over the corner. That's catch and practice for Lopez. A pretty good catch it was too. Almost sailed over his head. Smith. Sayers. Shakes off the attentions of Agwek, but South Melbourne win it back. Agwek, heavy ball back to Mikola, but it still works out for the home side. Under the chest of Lampard, beautiful take. His first touch has been fantastic today. Not often you say that of a fullback. And you can see instructions being dished out to some potential South Melbourne substitutes on the touchline there. You might see Jack Pope sooner rather than later. Pasquale. Mikola to bend one in. Kojima looks to have shifted more centrally now. He started the game at left back. Maybe even further forward into a left wing role, in fact. Well, we are going to see a family reunion after all. Excelsior prepare the next change, and it's an attacking one, as you might expect. Agwek. Dished off to Uchida. Well, we heard the contact over the effects mics. He's been in the walls today. He shifts the ball so quickly, so difficult to deal with, Yuki Uchida. Murphy protesting his innocence. I'm sure you didn't mean it, but it's still a foul. And Pasquale sizes up yet another dead ball opportunity. Two arms in the air from Seb Pasquale. To the chest of Jake Marshall. And hacked clear. South Melbourne were famed for their defensive qualities under Esteban Quintas, not so much with the new approach of Sinisa Kahadzic. As this game wears on, with them, the home side short-handed, they may have to lean upon some of those old habits of defending their own box. As it stands, they still fancy themselves to get forward and pinch a second. Mikola. The quickly taken throw to Agwek, who has precious little support. It arrives belatedly in the form of Pasquale and Mikola. Crossing to no one in particular. The ball will drop for Pasquale, and then Painter-Andrews couldn't sort his feet out. Kojima coming the other way. It's the battle for top spot in Group A in the Australian Championship. Meadow Magic knocking off Sydney Olympic in the other game in this group. 3-2 earlier this afternoon at Kogarah. Smith still copping the ire of the South Melbourne supporters. He is their longest serving player for Excelsior, debuted in 2016 in a homegrown youth product. No one better fitting to wear the armband than him. Quicker is the shout from the touchline. The Moreton City bench. Lampard. We're finally going to see some changes here. They've been waiting patiently to get on. It's going to be Charlie Leach and Jack Pope for South Melbourne.
Moreton City, Excelsior. Coming off, number 28, Trent Miller.
Tom Yanakopoulos has been withdrawn from the midfields.
And coming off, number 9, Andy Pengelly.
Andy Pengelly replaced for Moreton City. And it's Luka Jankovic who will play up top in a 1v1 battle against his brother. How often have we seen this? Very rarely, I'd say, have two siblings been direct opponents on the pitch in a national competition. Today's the day, the reunion, after they faced each other Lakeside when Luka Jankovic was playing for Olympic. He came on after the decisive third goal had been scored by his brother in that game in the Australia Cup. Because nobody asked their parents who they're supporting this afternoon. Here goes Agwek. He's going to try his luck from way downtown. Agwek! Unbelievable! Manny Agwek has won it for South Melbourne. He's caught the goalkeeper off his line. And from just inside the attacking half, Manny Agwek goes bang for his second goal of the afternoon. Are you kidding me? Nathan Foster becomes the second goalkeeper in the Australian Championship to be chipped from the halfway line. And the South Melbourne supporters have a new hero. It's the number 10 who started his journey right here at Lakeside. Manny Agwek, the halftime substitute. His name is in lights tonight. He channeled Balotelli in the Australia Cup. He's channeled David Beckham in the Australian Championship.
Thank you so much for coming out to Lakeside on this very hot and warm
Lakeside is going wild for Manny Agwek. miss him indeed. Absolutely outrageous. And listen to the buzz inside this venue. The fans only stopping, pausing their rapturous applause and only pausing to boo Declan Smith once again. You can't forget he's rolling the red card incident. Certainly the South Melbourne fans won't be forgetting. Touch of cramp for Peter Andrews. Soon find out how much stoppage is up on the board. The 10 men of South Melbourne now unfurling a raft of substitutions. Menelau, Mezzaruni, and Braden Spink. Yuki Achida will be replaced as we head into stoppage time. So too Seb Pasquale. And that's Noel Bernarda's number, but he's been sent off, so some confusion there. Correction there from the fourth official. So 6 minutes up on the board. We've already played one of them. Spink. Pope. Close attention to Murai. Looked like he handled the ball there. Attack will continue in South Melbourne's favour. There's a Rooney. There's Charlie Leach who hit the deck. And the whistle goes. A foul on Keitatsu Kojima. Thought he was through for a moment. Not so. A frustrating old afternoon for Seita Murai. He's been left limping by that collision. Flag was up on the far side. South Melbourne supporters in full voice with 3 minutes to play. Triumphant impact from Manny Agwek off the bench. The first turned home from point blank range. The second launched from just inside his attacking half. Spink. There's a Rooney. South Melbourne will play a game of keep ball in the corner here, just to eat as much up the remaining seconds as they can. There's concerns over who starts in the place of Noel Bernardo next week. Those are tomorrow's problems. Tonight, South Melbourne are going to celebrate, barring an improbable comeback from Excelsior here. Agwek picks it off. They want him to shoot again. Agwek skipping through. Great challenge from Smith. He's on a hat-trick, Manny Agwek, and he would love a match ball. It's going to be a Moreton City ball. And propel it as high up the pitch as they can, and then come forward through Murphy. Murphy with space to cross. It's a dangerous delivery. Morai saved by Lopez, and now Anderson blocked on the line. But the flag was up. Let's see this again. Great ball in from Murphy. Morai. I don't think he was offside. I think it was because Lopez had a hand on the ball as he kicked it. So that's the reason for the indirect free kick. As best I can gather. 40 seconds to play plus however long Jack Morgan chooses to add. We've had stoppages in stoppage time. Pope. McInally is on the right back there. Murphy picks it up here from the pass from Sayers. James Murphy. Back to Marr. South Melbourne supporters want the whistle. They want to celebrate. Ball through to Luka Jankovic is overcooked. And that's full time. And South Melbourne, for the second week in a row, deliver the 3 points for their home supporters. Last week, Jordan Lampard was the toast of Albert Park. This week, it's Manny Agwek. Scored with his first touch off the bench after coming on as a halftime substitute for Ollie Laval. That one was a true poacher's effort from point blank range, but it's the second that'll get tongues wagging around the country. Launching one from just inside the attacking half, over the head of Nathan Foster and into the back of the net for 2-0. South Melbourne had to do it the hard way, and Noel Bernardo was dismissed with 18 minutes to play for an apparent elbow on Declan Smith. But Manny Agwek has delivered the goods. A spectacular performance for his junior club. The final score at Lakeside is South Melbourne 2, Moreton City Excelsior 0. Let's have a look at the highlights from this second 45. It was Jack Painter-Andrews with a little nutmeg on Kojima in the lead up to the opening goal. Uchita's shot is spilled straight to the feet of Manny Agwek, who makes no mistake from point blank range. Literally his first contribution after coming off the bench. Brilliant from Painter-Andrews, measured from Uchita. Foster couldn't keep it in his grasp, and Agwek did the rest. Maybe Nathan Foster will look back on the goals that he conceded today with some regret. Here's the red card incident involving Declan Smith and the fiery Noel Bernardo. But perhaps the little glance over his shoulder is what incriminated him. Still protesting his innocence, I'm sure. This is the best chance that Excelsior mustered in the second half. It was Keitatsu Kojima testing Javi Lopez. And now, Here's the special strike from Agwek. Pinching the ball in transition. And he sails one over the head of the goalkeeper. And just like the Balotelli-inspired undershirt here unveiled in the Australia Cup, Manny Agwek lives up to the promise. It does always seem to be him. A goal that'll be talked about in South Melbourne folklore for years to come. One last opportunity to add some respectability to the scoreline for Excelsior. But no consolation forthcoming as Lopez puts his body in the way and keeps his clean sheet intact. Well, the stats tell the story of a fairly dominant South Melbourne performance until that last 20 minutes where they were reduced to 10, 19 shots to 6, 8 on target to 3. Excelsior had a few looks at goal, but they were few and far between. Let's have a look at the other results. West Sarpia laying down a marker on Friday night with a 4-0 win over Sydney United. Marconi doing the same to South Hobart, and Heidelberg on the road, topping Group B. 3-0 winners away at Wollongong Wolves. Today, it was Sydney Olympic who fell at the hands of Broadmeadow Magic 3-2. Preston Lions did the same on the road to Canberra, Croatia. So 2 big upsets against the Victorian and New South Wales NPL teams. Finishes 3-3 after a crazy second half between Spirit and Avondale. Bayswater City getting the win at home against Metro Stars, and of course South Melbourne victorious today. So that means South Melbourne are top of Group A ahead of Broadmeadow Magic, who lead Moreton City Excelsior on goal difference. Only the top 2 will progress. South Melbourne sitting pretty on top. Sydney Olympic in all sorts of trouble. Elsewhere, Heidelberg United are top of Group B ahead of Marconi, with Wollongong Wolves on the wrong end of that 3-0 scoreline, behind on goal difference. Only the top 2 go through to the quarterfinals, so much drama to come in the Australian Championship. South Melbourne celebrate a well-earned 3 points at home. Manny Agwek, the hero of the moment. Another brilliant afternoon at Lakeside. Plenty of entertainment for home supporters and travelling supporters alike. But it's the South Melbourne fans who will celebrate long into the night as they triumph by 2-0.